Hello, everybody. It's me, Staffio.
It's a me.
Welcome to How to Continues, episode 257. This is a weekly podcast. What's up every Monday on howtocontinues.com as an MP3, or it goes up before that on youtube.com/howtocontinues. That's a video, and we talk about video games and related topics. I am your host, Staffa, for those of you new to the show, and each week I have a new, not new, but different guest host. I have a different guest host with me each week, and this week I have. You guys want to guess? You listeners want to guess? You heard him already. He's Kevin.
How's it going, Staffa?
All right, how you doing, Kevin?
Pretty good.
Great. All right. So, why does it say Jess on here? I did not update it. Kevin. There we go. Probably says Jess on the bottom too. Nope, it says Kevin on the bottom. All right. Great. Professional. Anyway, so this week's episode segments will include, since it's October, we're going to have a spooky conversation about the creepiest enemies in video games. Ooh. And then after that, we got quick announcement and then some news. So, yeah, anyways, let's get going. But before we start talking about anything, I just want to say real quick that all opinions expressed on this show are only representative of ourselves and not of our employers or workplaces, past, present, or future. So, yes, anything I say is from me, by me, and representative of me. Same for Kevin.
Yep. Maybe.
Yeah, everything he says is from me. By me.
Yep, so if you can't tell, my script is pre-written, and I can only say whatever Staffa allows me to say.
Yep.
And whatever I just said was allowed by Staffa.
Yep.
Everything
So
else
anyways.
is script. Everything is scripted.
Yes. All right. So let's get going and talk about the creepiest enemies in video games. And let's see. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my list. How about you?
I also have like 5.
All right, that's
We'll
fine.
say 5.
Let's keep this a short podcast.
Yep.
All right. So Kevin, would you like to go first? You know, the way how we
Sure.
do these lists, we usually alternate, and I usually let the guest go first.
All right. First one on my list.
Is it in any particular order or?
No particular order.
All right.
Just whichever ones were coming to my mind first.
All right.
First one is going to be the Flood from Halo. I remember playing the first Halo game when I was pretty young, so everything scared me at that age. Well, not everything, but anything that was slightly creepy or scary was like amplified for me. So like I remember going through playing Halo and then getting to that first area in the swampy like area where you first encounter the Flood. And I just remember like you go into the facility and then you find out that the Flood had been released and you're trying to escape, and that whole segment was like a adrenaline rush for me because all these the little Flood were chasing after you, and then you had the human Flood and the elite Flood, the Covenant Flood. And I mean, thinking back on it now, like I played that segment of Halo several times, and like every time I've played it, I've enjoyed it more. Even though it still remains creepy, I still enjoy it, and I think that they designed the Flood really well. Like they have, it's like they're like they just did a really good job with making those levels feel creepy, especially like the library when you're going through that, you know, on your own, and it's just like the environment is creepy, the enemies are creepy, and they just really nailed it with that atmospheric scariness. I loved it a lot.
All right. I don't know. Like for me, I mean, just to chime in a little bit. As far as the flood always reminds me of the library, even though they're present in more than just that.
Yeah.
You know, like I always think about the library when I think of the flood, and the library is like always a big no-no for me.
Yeah, that level definitely is something that everyone who's played Halo, they remember it, and it stands out from the rest of the game just because it feels different too. Because you're playing through the Halo games, and in the beginning it's very what you would expect a sci-fi game to be like. It has the same beats and flow as what a typical sci-fi type of game or movie or something would have. And then once you get to the flood part of the game, it just takes a completely different turn, and it just feels like a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the mechanics are the same, everything you're still playing as the same person. You've got the same weapons available to you. Everything is the same, but just because of that environment and that atmosphere and the enemies, it just feels 100% different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the library is actually one of the best designed levels that I've ever played. I'm not saying it's the best, but in terms of just like those linear shooters, that's one of the most memorable levels ever to me. And I think they just did a phenomenal job with designing it.
I think if it was like half the length,
I think that also adds to it, though.
I would probably agree with you, but I will disagree.
To each their own.
So I got some visuals to help me out.
All right.
So for those that are also watching and not just listening, the first one on my list is these creatures over here from The Last of Us, called the Clickers. And basically it's their take on zombies. Like they were like non-zombie zombies.
Yeah.
So they were not dead. They were just infected people that have a fungus growing like inside their head that like takes over their body, like because it like consumes their brain and makes them into like this creepy zombie-like creature that makes like such a disgusting clicking sound. And that's where it gets the name Clicker, because of the clicking sound it makes. And like playing, going through that game, when you're like just trying to sneak through, and then all of a sudden you just hear the clicking. It's like, uh-oh. Oh, snap. I mean, like, it reminded me a lot of Doom, because in Doom, the audio was two-dimensional. It was not 3D. And you, like, no matter where you were, it always sounded like something was behind you. It always sounded like it was behind you.
Yeah.
And that's what made Doom creepy. But, with The Last of Us, it seemed like they were kind of going off of that with, hey, let's make some creepy sound so that, like, whenever the player is going through some, an area that's like dead silent, all of a sudden they hear the clickers, and, it just makes the atmosphere a lot more creepy.
Yeah.
So, yes. You have anything to chime in on the clickers?
The clickers, I definitely agree. Like they did a good job with that as well, in terms of just the whole atmosphere of that game, especially like those segments when you're going through the spore infested areas and you're trying really hard to get from point A to point B, and you can't really see very well because of all the spores in the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, so you have to worry about the spores, and then you also have to worry about not being seen by the clickers, or I mean, not being heard by them. So you're like walking around really slowly, and then I remember like there was a point where I had a plan to get behind some cover, and I don't know what happened, but I got turned around because one of the clickers was in front of me, but like I was trying so hard not to move because it was right there in front of me, and so I was like backing up slowly as it was walking towards me, and then I don't remember what happened, but there was, I think, like some shards of glass on the ground, and I stepped on it, and it was, yeah, like that whole part was really intense and just really nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that was an excellent game, The Last of Us.
Yep.
All right, what's next on your list?
All right, next one on my list is from Wolfenstein 3D. So this game is something that has been part of my life for a long time because when I was really young, my dad, he works at IUPUI, and so anytime but he used to like work full days, but whenever I got off school, like preschool or kindergarten, when I was really young, he would have to take me to his office for a couple hours because he had always work to finish, but I would get off of school early. Mm-hmm. And my mom was studying at the time, so she was not available to take care of me. So I was always with him at IUPUI. And the thing that I did while I was there was play Wolfenstein 3D. Like this was a daily thing for me. And there's a certain part in the game when you get to the Nazi zombies. Basically, like these zombies were...
Hey, dude. I think you're infringing on Call of Duty right now.
Nope. Wolfenstein did it first.
No, Call of Duty did it before Wolfenstein.
So like...
I'm terrible.
So you get to the part where you actually encounter the Nazi zombies first, and basically the story of these is that they were one of the Nazi scientists was trying to find a way to make their army stronger, and so he figured out a way to basically raise the dead and use them as a weapon. So anytime even if you killed a Nazi, they would still have the opportunity of coming back and like attacking again. So there's a certain section where you first encounter the Nazi zombies, and they're like these mutant type things. And so they're dual wielding pistols, but then they also have a gun like in their chest. Uh-huh. And so like there's 3 guns. They have like 3 guns basically that they're attacking you with. And again, I was young and got scared easily, and so I just remember going through the levels that the Nazi zombies were in, and like the music was creepy, and it was kind of creepy music, but it was quiet, so you didn't know what was happening. It wasn't the typical like the music playing in the background as you're...
Dude, just the dogs in that game were creepy enough for me. And I'm older than you too. I was scared of the dogs because they'd come, they'd always charge straight at me, and I'm like, ah!
I know those dogs were vicious. Like they would just saw you and they just were barking and madly, and they were just running at you. But yeah those zombie mutants.
Well, I never got to the Nazi zombies, but like I mean, Wolfenstein was a game.
Yeah. But yeah, like the level designs are also really interesting because in the rest of the Wolfenstein levels, you basically are going through the castle. So you've got brick walls or stone walls or wooden walls. Your typical interior building materials. But then once you get to the mutant levels, the walls are like purple, like stone. It's almost like something you would kind of see in like a graveyard, like a dark purplish blackish stone covered in green moss, and like the music was really creepy and quiet, so it just had this vibe to it. And then like, and the Nazi mutants wouldn't actually make a sound. Like, you wouldn't be able to hear them until they were right behind you and shooting at you. So I had many jump scares during those levels where I would try to turn a corner and there was just one right there, and then shooting with all 3 guns at me. So yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Yeah. Don't blame you, man. I mean, like I said, Wolfenstein. I mean, you gotta, for the younger audience, you have to think about it this way, that first person was not really as prevalent in video games as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so the fact that Wolfenstein was a first person game, it added so much more immersion than like any other game at the time. And
Yeah.
Doom as well. And in fact, the term first person shooter was not even used at that time. Like, I remember back then, like, you know, if a game was in first person, I would say, you know, a Doom clone or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we didn't have the term first person shooter at the time. So the fact that, you know, that this was new, it, you know, it's first person. You're inside the character, and you know, you got like all these creepy looking things coming at you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was like we're living in the future. All right, moving on.
Yep.
All right, let me get the next one on the screen real quick. And here we go. We have this girl from the Fear series, Alma. I'm not really into horror games that much. And this was like the first action horror game, like, because it used to be like survival horror used to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then it like started becoming action horror. And Fear, I think, as far as I remember, Fear was like at least the first popular action horror game. And Alma was insanity. Like, you're just walking down a hall, and then, you know, the hall goes black, and then the light turns back on, and she's in front of you, and then the light goes off, and then the light goes back on, and she's behind you.
Yeah.
You climb up a ladder, and she's like at the top of the ladder.
Yeah, that section.
I remember my brother Ali screamed and jumped when he was climbing a ladder, and she was like at the top.
Oh man, I never actually played the game all the way through, but I was at a friend's house while they were playing it, and that moment in the game, the hallway, that stuck with me for a very long time.
Yeah, like the hallway catches on fire, and she's like right in the center, and yeah, like, I mean, from what I understand, like, creepy girls is more of a Japanese thing. Like, this got popularized with Ring, which is an American version of a Japanese movie called Ringu, or something like that, which like has like an entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more than one Ringu, and yeah, so creepy girl. Yeah, you have anything to add to this?
No, not really.
All right.
All right. Let's see. And the next one on my list is the Stalfos from the Legend of Zelda series. The Stalfos are the skeleton warriors that you encounter throughout the various games. I remember playing Ocarina of Time, and they kind of show up towards the middle, like, end of the game, and like they're pretty creepy because they're just laying down on the ground. They're just laying there, So you don't really think much of it when you first come up to them, when they first appear in the game, and then you walk up to them, and then they just like scream. Like they just have this really like creepy shriek, and then they just get up. And again, this is when I was younger, so
Yes.
super creepy. And like I remember like not being able to continue playing the game for a while because of that. Like I got to that point and I was just like, okay, I don't know if I can play this anymore. So it took me a while to actually get through the rest of the game once the Stalfos appeared. But I mean those are definitely to me the creepiest enemy types in the Legend of Zelda games.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't really have much to add to that since I didn't really play much of The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
So the next on my list, let me get this picture up real quick for the viewers. Boom. So there were these dudes in Dead Space. I think they're called the Regenerators.
Mm.
And like you can't kill them. like you could blast them all you want, and they just kept on regenerating. And I know, like in Dead Space 2, there's like one, and then in Dead Space 3, they put a bunch of them, and it was less scary in Dead Space 3 just because that they put so many of them in there. That game, I didn't like Dead Space 3, but like in Dead Space 2, I really like that game. And at the very end, there's like one of these dudes, and he's like breaking through the doors, and he just like nothing can stop it, and it was just kept on chasing you. And like the only way to beat it was to, like just outrun it. And I can't remember. It was like I think you had to freeze it or something. I can't remember how you beat it, but the only way to beat it was to outrun it, and it was just. It really made the suspense of the end of that game much more suspenseful. Yeah, that my vocabulary is amazing. The suspense is more suspenseful. I'm good with words.
Words are hard, man. Words are hard.
Well, yeah. Did you play Dead Space 2?
I played like the first couple hours of it, but I never got through the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, this is a dude that's like at the very end of the game, and it was
it
was insanity.
Well, I think just in general, a lot of the designs and just the way that you have to fight the monsters in the Dead Space games is just it's extremely creepy. Because I remember like when you like just at the beginning, like when you first encounter the monsters, like you don't really, I mean, unless you knew what to do because you played the game late. But like in the beginning, when the game first came out, you didn't really think to shoot their limbs, because that was just not, that's not typical. Like whenever you try to kill something, you can shoot it in the head, you can shoot it anywhere, and it takes damage. But so when you're going through this and all of the like the main ones, I forget what they're actually called. But they're just like laying, they're just laying there, and then they don't like. Not all of them will jump up at you because some of them are dead, but one of them will just jump up right in front of you, and you're just taking shots at it, and you don't really think like, oh my gosh, I need to like shoot its limbs.
Yeah.
So and it's not taking damage, it doesn't go down, and then just trying to like focus and concentrate on shooting their limbs when they're just chasing after you. That like they just have this. It's really intense. There's a lot of adrenaline, and then there was the baby things with the tentacles. Like those also were really creepy.
Oh, those things. Yeah, like I haven't played the first Dead Space. I hear that's really good, but
that one's really good.
The second one was a very well made game. I really liked it a lot. Great action game with like creepy enemies and just all around really good. I liked how the weapons felt.
Yeah.
You were basically using mining guns, and you shot bolts, but it felt really powerful. It was really cool. On to you.
All right. Next one for me would be basically the infected zombies in the Half-Life games. Um, so in Half-Life, you've got the head crabs, which basically attach onto people, and then become like zombie type enemies. But when you get to the specific level called Welcome to Ravenholm, Half-Life 2, that whole level.
I thought it was called We Don't Go to Ravenholm.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. We Don't Go to Ravenholm. Or, yeah, something about Ravenholm. I don't remember exactly the name. But that whole level was scary because it's nighttime.
The entire game changed.
Yeah. It's completely dark.
You're not playing Half-Life anymore.
Yeah.
You're playing October Life.
I mean, it was basically like the library, for like what library is to Halo, Ravenholm is to Half-Life. Mm-hmm. And like it's nighttime, so it's really dark, and you're going through this town that's been completely overrun by these mutated zombie people.
Yeah, and everything's on fire.
Everything's on fire. And there are certain points when you have to actually go through buildings because there's so much rubble in the way that you can't get through them. Like the roads are completely blocked, so you have to actually go through some buildings. And these buildings are extremely claustrophobically small. Like, I mean, it's almost like walking through a crawl space that's, regular height. They're just really narrow. And so you're going through, and there's no light anywhere. All the power is out. So all you have is your little flashlight on your suit, and that flashlight, because of just the way that the, I guess it was probably just like an engine design limitation, but basically the way that the flashlight works in Half-Life is it doesn't have ambient light. Like it doesn't have much of a diffuse light to it. It's just, it kind of has this little circle that it illuminates, but then everything on the outside is kind of just still dark. And so it's almost like a spotlight, but there's just nothing around you. Like there's no light that you can see in your peripheral. So you're going through these really narrow hallways with corridors that are opening up on the sides. And like you basically like just like creep around the corners, like slowly looking on each corridor just to make sure there's nothing there. And sometimes you just won't realize it, and you'll just walk, and one of those things is just right next to you. And yeah, like that whole level was scary.
Let's be real though. That level was specifically designed for the player to just play with the gravity gun.
Yes.
Like, pick up all the circular saws. And
the circular saws and just chop all their heads off. And
yeah. That's why that level was made.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that was incredibly scary. Took me a while to get through it because I had to like play for 5 minutes and then take a break. But yeah, it was intense and it was fun. Like just getting through that, it gave me a sense of accomplishment. I was like, yes, I actually survived.
All right. Yeah, I already added my 2 cents on that as well. So
yep.
Move on.
Yep.
All right. So this next one is from Mario 64.
Oh.
And this was legitimately scary. Like, yeah, there's like a haunted house and there's some booze.
Yeah.
But those boos aren't what's scary. It's this dude over here.
Yeah.
This piano.
I knew
it. This piano is it was just in a room on its own. Looks so innocent. It's like, oh, maybe if I go up to it, Mario will start playing the piano or something. Nope. It just opens up, has teeth, and it starts chomping its mouth, chasing you.
Yeah.
And you usually take a bunch of damage from this too, because of the fact that you don't know. you don't know it's gonna start chomping at you, but then like you're up close to it and blah, 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 and it, like takes away like almost all your health before you barely make it out.
Yeah. Oh
The
man.
scariest thing in Mario 64.
It's basically like the mimics that you get in RPGs where they look like a treasure chest, and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna open this up and get some cool loot, and you go up to it and you push the button to open it, and then it just like comes alive and starts biting you.
You know, I have trust issues now because of Mario 64. I no longer trust anything. Nothing. Not even my paycheck. I don't even trust it. Is this money really for me? No, it's probably gonna bite me.
Man.
Anything else you want to add on this?
No, I think you pretty much got all the major things, all the major points.
All right.
All right. Last one on my list is the water lurker from Amnesia, the first Amnesia game. So, if you've seen the Amnesia games, you know that there's like this main monster that's you're trying to basically escape or hide from. But even though that is kind of creepy, that's not the creepiest thing in the game. There is a section where you have to go through this hallway, but it's completely flooded. The hallway is flooded. I mean, it's only like 2 or 3 feet of water, but there's a lot of water in there, and there are these like floating crates that you have to jump on in order to get I mean, you start off by walking through the water, but then as soon as you step into the water, you hear this like the music does this violent shriek, and then you just start seeing this like splash of water starting at one end of the hallway and coming towards you, and so like it's you don't actually see what this monster is. It's just in the water, and if it touches you, you die. And so you have to go through this hallway and all the rooms in this area are flooded. So you have to jump on crates, jump on bookshelves, jump on tables, jump on things that are floating, and you have to try to solve like the rest of the game. You basically have to solve puzzles to open a door or find the key or find a pathway to the next area. But this whole time, you can only walk on things that are... It's like when you're a kid and you play The Floor is Lava, and like you can't touch the ground. Like that's basically what this whole area is. Like it's all flooded with water, and you cannot go into the water because as soon as you do, the monster knows where you are. This lurker knows where you are, and it just starts coming towards you, but you can't see it. It's invisible. It's just like you can see its steps, like the splashes of the steps in the water. And but it will only come after you if you're in the water. So, and like you have to go through the hallway, find like the right room, like find the buttons to activate certain things, find the keys, and this whole time it's pitch black in the room, and you only have your lantern. And for those, if you haven't played the game, basically you have an insanity level in the game. So if you're in the darkness too long, then you start hallucinating things. But the only way to get out of that is basically to be in light. But there are no candles that you can light, at least not that I remember. There might be a couple of like candles that you can light in some of the rooms, but through the hallway you only have your lantern. And if your lantern oil runs out, then you don't have light, and you start seeing things. So you're trying to manage your lantern oil, try not to walk into the water, and have to find things that are hidden throughout the whole area while this invisible monster is chasing you. It's creepy. Like the water lurker was scarier than the actual main monster that you're trying to run away from. But yeah, that was super scary too.
Yeah, I didn't play more than like 5 minutes of Amnesia.
That was
the audio is very good.
Yes. Yeah, that game does a great job with sound design. You can
I
hear exactly where the monster is when it's
well, I
chasing
didn't even
after
get to
yours.
monsters. I like I'm just playing the game. Like this game's not gonna scare me, and then like I don't know what I'm hearing, and then like the dude I'm playing is like super scared, and then like at one point like he just starts collapsing and screams. I'm like, what the heck am I playing? I'm done. Why is my dude collapsing and screaming? This is not a game. I'm done with this.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was like 5 minutes into the game too. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
See, I don't play very many scary games, but when it comes to environmental horror, that's the kind of stuff that I like. And I think Amnesia, it does a really good job with that. And there are some games that I still want to play, like Soma and the Alien one. I, yeah, people know what I'm talking about. I forgot the actual
Alien Isolation.
Isolation. Yeah. Um, but yeah, like, I want to play those, but at the same time, I don't. But I did enjoy Amnesia. It was except for the ending, like the rest of the game was really good.
I've heard people liked Alien Isolation, but like, I, one person summed it up saying that the game is like 2/3 too long. Like one
Yeah,
third of the game, it seems like it ends, but then it just keeps going, and after that point, like that the rest of it's unnecessary.
I think I heard a lot of same complaints too. Just that there's a lot of um, backtracking, and there's just more tedious work than they would liked because, like and there's some of it is predictable because there's a lot of situations where you're supposed to get to point B, but something's blocking the way, so you have to like go back and try to figure out a way to either like activate something to unlock the door or something something like that. That's what I've heard. So there's just a lot of backtracking and tedious roadblocks that you have to get through.
I think I might have it. I'm not sure. Like I think I've probably gotten like a bundle or something. Let me look at my Steam real quick. But like basically, let me go to games, my games, my games, Alien. I have Alien Colonial Marine, Alien Hallway, Alien Breed 2. No, I don't have Alien Isolation. I do have Amnesia, Dark Descent.
Yeah, I do like Amnesia. It has its extremely scary moments, but it was fun getting through.
Yeah.
Ending wasn't great, but it was a good game.
Yeah. I never really had any um, interest in playing Alien Isolation because I'm not into horror games, and also I'm not really a huge fan of Alien. I mean, it's not that I don't like Alien, but I'm not like a huge fan of it. So,
see, I really like the movies.
I honestly don't remember much. I remember I did see. I don't know if I saw the whole thing or not, but I saw them on TV.
The first two movies are worth it. The other ones are, eh.
I remember like there was a flamethrower. Like she had a flamethrower at one point killing aliens. So, and there was also like a yellow robot exosuit thing, something that she used to fight the alien. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. So, anyways, my last pick. First, before I go into the last pick, I want to give an honorable mention because this is a similar type. These enemies are both similar, but my last pick is better than this honorable mention one. So here's the honorable mention. His name is Sinistar. He's in an arcade game called Sinistar. And basically, like in this game, it's similar to Asteroids, where you're in outer space and you shoot in all directions. But instead of just blowing everything up, you also have to like mine from these like meteors or whatever, and gets minerals or resources to get like these cinnamines or whatever. Um, and yeah, like that's the goal. But like the enemies are also mining as well, but they're mining for a different reason. They're mining to summon this huge dude that's like really big in the screen. Like your dude is maybe like as big as like the eye. Okay? So this huge dude, like once they summon him, he is chasing you, he kills you in one hit, and to make him even more creepy, he talks. And like it's like a 16-bit audio as well. Like in 16-bit audio, he's like, "Beware, I live. Run, coward." Like he just says he like insults you and he's chasing you, and like he's extremely creepy because like 16-bit audio, and like he's huge compared to like everything else on the screen. So Sinistar definitely very creepy, but this dude who is the creepiest enemy on my list, definitely number one. I mean, the rest of the list is not in any order, but this dude's number one. Is in a game called Berserk. It's on Atari and arcades. All right, and it's like a dual stick shooter, I suppose. Like you're this dude fighting robots. You shoot. I think it's only 4 directions, 4 or 8 directions. I can't remember, but I think it's 4 directions. And so you gotta line up your shots. You have to be very accurate because you shoot slowly. Like you only do like a few shots at a time. You don't do like a big stream of bullets. So you gotta line up your shots, and the enemies also shoot back. And also the walls are electric, so if you touch it, you get electrocuted. So you gotta be careful as to like how you walk around. But if you take too long doing what you gotta do in this game, then Evil Otto comes in.
He's so happy though.
Like this yellow smiley face, and he goes through the walls and instantly kills you. Like he goes through the walls chasing you, and then like if you go to like a different room, he'll like wait. After a couple of seconds, he'll come through the door that you went through, and he'll keep chasing you. This is like one of the creepiest dudes in all video games. Like this smiley face of doom. Like for the listeners out there who aren't watching, like imagine the yellow Walmart smiley face. But instead of like dropping your prices every day, instead of rolling back your prices, he's coming to kill you. I can't tell you how much this smiley face has scared me as a kid, because it was so scary for like this invincible bad guy. You cannot kill him. You can shoot at him all you want. He'll just smile and come straight towards you.
Just the fact that they used a smiley face definitely makes that scarier.
Yes, Evil Otto. Like his name in the booklet, because back then games had booklets.
Yeah.
In the booklet, his name is Evil Otto, and it has like this picture of his pixelated smiley face in the booklet, and it's just so scary. I cannot emphasize how creepy, how terrifying Evil Otto is. Definitely number one on my list. Yes. I mean, if you want to like check out the game Berserk, that's Berserk with a Z. Check it out. Play for a minute. Evil Otto will come. And then you'll understand. You'll understand how helpless you are against Evil Otto.
Oh man.
Yeah. But one thing that doesn't leave you helpless and isn't creepy at all.
Hmm.
You want
I
to take a stab at it?
ah
No
uh
clue.
I have no clue. I'm interested in hearing though because all this creepy enemies talk is definitely making me want something, something hopeful.
Yes. Something that you can dream about.
Yeah.
Well, you're in luck because DreamHost is here for you. DreamHost is a web service that offers unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, and they're also optimized to use content managers such as WordPress. Whoa! WordPress. WordPress is super easy to use. I mean, it's not like some creepy, evil smiley face coming after you. And many more features, all that just for $7.95 US a month. And it gets better. If you use the promo code out of continues, that's one word, no spaces, waive away the setup fee and get your free domain registration for the first year.
Ooh.
Bam. Bam.
That's fancy.
That's a deal. That's cheaper than Netflix. Unlike Netflix, they don't remove stuff all the time.
Yeah.
They just get better. So, yeah, one quick announcement. If you use iTunes, please leave an iTunes review. We can definitely use more iTunes reviews. It would really help out the podcast. If you can't leave an iTunes review for whatever reason, and you still want to help out the podcast, you can do so by sharing the podcast on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Oh, excuse me. Whatever you want to use. It helps out the podcast by telling a friend. And if you don't like us, tell an enemy. So, anyways, let's talk about some news. Let's get the news on the screen for the viewers. Here we go. We got some news. The first news we have on here, we have Rockstar. They tweeted out this picture that's all red with the Rockstar logo. What does it mean?
Super much excite. That's what it means.
What does it mean? It means something is red. Probably dead.
Good job, Stefan. You redeemed yourself.
Oh. Maybe I should put that aside and revolve it for later. So, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Red Dead Redemption is probably the best game that Rockstar has made. Arguably, it's the best game that they've made.
I still need to get around to playing that. I have it on my PS3. I don't play games on it because it's a PS3.
Yeah. I think everything that they've done basically since Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead was their turning point. They really stepped up their storytelling and their world building. Because I know a lot of people really liked San Andreas. Like that was probably the most popular Grand Theft Auto game up until maybe GTA 5. But honestly, as interesting as San Andreas was, it wasn't particularly, for me at least, it wasn't that great. Like you could do a lot of stuff. Yeah, like you could do a lot in it, but they just didn't really have the best storytelling. They just didn't. The characters to me weren't nearly as engaging. They didn't really go through much, development. It was kind of shallow in a lot of ways, but once they did Red Dead Redemption, like that really stepped up their character development, their world building, their storytelling. All of that just took a huge leap forward. And Red Dead Redemption was actually, it was a very serious game, and it just did a phenomenal job with making you feel like you were actually in the Wild West. And ever since then, their games have kind of taken cues from that. Like even GTA 5, it's still a Grand Theft Auto, but its story is much more elaborate and complex than any of their previous GTA games. And there's just a lot that it's actually a game that's worth playing just for the story even. I mean, a lot of people, when you think of Grand Theft Auto, it's kind of just like sandbox, do whatever you want. But with GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption, which pretty much they use, all their games pretty much use the similar formula. Like those two games are really good, even just as a storytelling medium. And Red Dead Redemption is easily, it's arguably, like I said before, it's arguably their best game that they've ever made. And so always like wanted a second game, and just to see this picture kind of teasing a new Red Dead, that got me really excited.
I remember when this game first came out, Red Dead Redemption. Like I remember the thing that was going around about it was how buggy it was, because I remember there was like a woman with like a horse mouth, and like you can ride on her like, as if she was a horse. Like it was just so buggy at first. that was the stuff that was going around at first. But it seems that now it's remembered more as being a really good game than how buggy it was.
Yeah, and that's something that's something to be proud of, because I mean, if you think back on even games like Assassin's Creed Unity or whichever one,
it's still a buggy game.
Yeah, like that's the only thing people remember about it is just the bugs. Like no one remembers
faceless faces.
Yeah, and that just shows that the story wasn't worth remembering. Wasn't worth remembering, because if the glitches and the bugs were overemphasized, then that just if the game itself couldn't allow the bugs to basically be in the background, like if people just didn't remember that, then it just shows that the game wasn't designed well. But with Red Dead Redemption, even though it had all the bugs and it had all the glitches, it's still remembered as a very good game. Like there are more positive memories about Red Dead Redemption than negative.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Steam Dev Days.
Yes.
So what happened in Steam Dev Days?
Couple things. They showed new controllers for the Vive.
And here's the pictures,
which I think look really interesting and cool because they kind of strap onto your hands. Mm-hmm. Which I honestly, when it comes to the controllers, I think the Oculus Touch is better designed than the original Vive controllers.
I'm more distracted by this dude's picture. For the listeners, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
So yeah, like the original Vive controllers were just really, I don't know, they looked cumbersome to me, because they were kind of like the PlayStation Move. They're just big wands that you kind of hold, and they have, I don't know, they just didn't seem ergonomic to me. But that's something that Oculus did a good job with, I think, with their controllers. Like those controllers just seemed to, they looked lighter, they seemed to fit in your hand better, and they even allowed you to use your fingers because they had the sensor that kind of went around your fingers. But this one basically it looks like a glove without the fingers. Well, without even the palm. It's just kind of like a bracelet that goes into your like goes around your palm, and allows you to actually move your fingers, and they reflect in the game. They showed there was like a couple videos or animated GIFs that kind of showed how it acted, and you could like close your hand, you could make a fist, you could basically, your hand was free, and you still had the buttons accessible to you if you needed to push anything. So I like that design a lot better. It gives you a lot more freedom. And especially it makes more sense because the Vive is really pushing more for spatial VR, whereas Oculus at the moment is mostly pushing just visual VR.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is like the Oculus only has support basically for one camera. I mean, you can add more cameras to improve its accuracy, but it doesn't have the ability to allow you to walk around in a space, whereas the Vive does. So something like these bracelet controllers that give you freedom, it just adds to that whole spatial immersion because you're walking around. You don't actually have to physically hold something because they're kind of attached to your hands. So it brings you even closer to just being in the space. And then the other thing they announced was Steam Link will be integrated with some TVs. Samsung, I think, is the first one to do it.
Yeah.
So just like how you can have, like some TVs will have Google Chrome built in, some will have Apple TV is not really integrated, but you sometimes will have all these different technologies that are integrated into the TV.
I think that's a better route for them to go rather than like just rely on the Steam Link, because I think if people like bought a new TV with Steam Link in it already, they'd be more willing to try it out than, I mean, a lot of people who have computers to play games on, they're not going to get off their desk chair, off their computer. But, it's like, oh, I bought this new TV and it has Steam Link built in. Oh, check this out. I'm going to try to play Portal on my couch.
Yeah, and it's always nice having just integrated things because, like, my TV is a Sony, but it's an Android TV, so it has Chromecast built into it. So I didn't even have to buy the Chromecast dongle to plug in. So it's just one less thing to have that's extra. It's built into my TV, and it works, in my opinion, a little bit better because it's integrated with a lot of things that the TV's systems, because it is also Android, it's got all the support built in for Chromecast. And so something like this for Steam Link would be awesome too, because then you don't have to have a separate box. You don't have to have because I think the Steam Link requires an outlet connection. So that's one less thing to plug into an outlet. So you don't necessarily need to have, a power strip. You can just plug in your TV, plug in your, if you have other like DVD players or whatever, but it's just one less thing to plug in and one less thing to worry about. And it's nicer when things are built in like that because it's just, it becomes a neater package.
Yeah. And if one thing goes wrong, it all goes wrong.
Yeah, that's the only downside to integrated devices, is if one part goes bad, then you kind of lose everything in it.
Yep.
But
put all your eggs in one basket. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's life advice there. All right, let's.
But this is definitely, like you were mentioning, this is a way to get Steam Link into more homes. And this way, like, even if people don't necessarily make the extra effort to buy one, and if they have it in their TV, they might be more willing to give it a try. And I know for me, there are several types of games that I would enjoy playing with a controller on my couch. Pretty much any like third person action game, I think works really well with a controller. And just being able to play that on my TV, sit on the couch, I think would be really fun. So I like the idea of Steam Link, just being able to play my games on my TV. And I've been wanting to get a Steam Link, but this is just them announcing this was.
I prefer Nintendo's Link.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's talk about World of Warcraft, the game.
Yep.
The director is transitioning to a mysterious new project inside Blizzard. And so, yeah. mysterious new project.
Yeah,
Did they hint at anything?
I don't think they did. It's just, it's mysterious, but it's interesting whenever Blizzard announces a new project because they don't do that very often. Um, I mean, they kind of for the longest time they stuck with their Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo games and just kind of added sequels to those, and then they got this recently started adding more to them, like Overwatch was its own thing, and Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone are kind of. I mean, I don't know if I 100% consider them new franchises because they're still using like existing IPs that they have. They're just kind of putting it into a new format because like Hearthstone is basically Warcraft.
Well, like, yeah,
it's a card game, but it's using the Warcraft universe. But
it is using the Warcraft universe, but at the same time, they have begun making like Hearthstone characters that aren't in World of Warcraft. Like, for example, the League of Explorers. That's not based off of anything that happened in World of Warcraft. Like, they made like, was it 3 or there's 4? Yeah, 4 explorers. And like as far as I know, I mean I don't know anything about the World of Warcraft lore, but from what I understand, those 4 characters are like completely original characters for Hearthstone. So they it seems that it's not expanding the World of Warcraft universe, but more it is like using World of Warcraft as its base work and working from there. Also they have like, for example, they have they have Ragnaros, who is based off of the character from World of Warcraft, but they also have a good version of Ragnaros, which is Ragnaros the Light Lord, who is not from World of Warcraft. So they started doing stuff outside of the Warcraft lore.
I see. But
as for Here's a Storm, I mean, like it's more like Smash Brothers.
Okay.
As far as like taking characters from different universes and throwing them to get together, so it's not like it's adding to any of those stories at all. It's just more of a Smash Brothers type scenario.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this is interesting that he's moving on to a new project. I have a feeling that it's not going to be something that is just expanding like one of their existing IPs. Like they're not doing a sequel to something that he would work on, because if they were going to do a StarCraft sequel or new Diablo game, they'd most definitely just be using their current people for those games already. But just the fact that they're moving him to something new makes me pretty confident that they've got a new IP to work on. Maybe they're going to do something with Overwatch characters and actually have a different type of game with them, or because I mean, like it's kind of interesting because the Overwatch characters some of them were from their Project Titan game, which was a sci-fi MMO. So
and it ended up being Overwatch.
Yeah, well, they canceled the game and they took some of the characters and some of the concepts from Titan and made it Overwatch. From what I remember, or if I understood correctly, like Overwatch, the multiplayer competitive way, like the way that the game is now, was kind of a small aspect of some of the PvP stuff that they had planned for Titan.
Yeah, I think that's how it was.
Yeah, so they, instead of making it a whole MMO, they just took the PvP aspect and just made it into a multiplayer shooter. But it's interesting that this guy who's worked on World of Warcraft uh, since the beginning. So he's got MMO basically in his blood. And
Well, I mean, like at the same time, people get tired. They need change. So
yeah,
maybe that's the case here, that he's tired of working on similar projects and he wants to do something different.
yeah. But I think inherently anything that Blizzard does, it typically, I mean, ever since like post Diablo 2,
Uh-huh.
everything that they've done is basically an MMO on some level. Like even like with Diablo 3, this was kind of the weird case because they incorporated.
No. I mean, like Overwatch isn't an MMO, and Hearthstone's not an MMO, and Heroes of the Storm isn't an MMO. Starcraft's definitely not an MMO. I mean, I think you just making stuff up.
Maybe MMO wasn't the right term to use, but
I think everything that they've done is a multiplayer game.
yeah, like they've definitely got a big focus on multiplayer online elements.
And like Hearthstone's not even massive multiplayer. It's just one-on-one.
Yeah.
Me against you. You against me.
Yeah. Yeah, so MMO is the wrong term to use there. I should have just focused on like the multiplayer aspect. But like,
I think you just wanted to make stuff up and sound smart.
Nope. You can call me Peter Molyneux. But yeah, so we'll see how this goes. It'll be interesting to see what Blizzard has in store, because they have their culture is pretty much like they only announce things when it's ready to be announced. They only release things when it's ready to be released. They they're typically try to stay extremely quiet and keep things a secret. So just the fact that this was public knowledge, that they've got someone moving to a new position or working on something new, they're obviously going to want to. I don't want to make any speculations, but I think that just the fact that they're announcing this means that they want this project to be on the radar, and it's not something that they're just kind of testing around with. It's something that they want people to be aware of.
Right now, Blizzard is like one of my favorite developers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not into World of Warcraft. Haven't really played Diablo, but I really liked the single player aspect of StarCraft. I can't get into the multiplayer aspect because, especially now with like people making, people streaming and people making guides and tutorials, you gotta be crazy to like to be able to play competitively online with that game. So like back when I was in high school, I was able to do it because like the world of video games was different back then. Like we didn't have YouTube and Twitch to like improve on people's skills.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that aside, I love playing Hearthstone. I love playing Overwatch. Those games, I spend more time playing those games than like any other game right now. So I mean, I'd be foolish to say that Blizzard isn't one of my favorite developers right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, talking about things that we need in our life. We have Metal Gear Solid 5, the definitive experience. This is the definitive experience, not the one that Kojima worked on.
Right.
No. This one that Kojima didn't work on is the definitive experience. Get this. So it says it's out now, right? Yeah, it is on Steam right now.
Yeah.
Let me see if I own it. Like if I gotta buy it separately, or if it doesn't. No, I do not own it. Or well, okay, it says log in. Let me get myself logged in. Please let me. Oh no, it's not logging me in. All right. Either way, well, let's get back in there. So, anyways, or I can open up Steam and go to it. Oh wow! Get that out of my face. Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, it's a $40, and I have Metal Gear Solid 5 because I got it when I bought my graphics card.
Okay, so the definitive experience is separate.
Yeah, it's a separate thing. It's not like it's not. They're not upgrading people who already have.
Yeah, so if you already have Metal Gear Solid 5, it's too bad for you. You're not getting the definitive experience. You gotta pay $40 more to get the definitive experience.
I wish they had an upgrade at least.
No. Konami ain't gonna do that.
I know. I'm just saying. I wish.
What exactly is in this definitive experience? Like, this is a very long article for something that doesn't need to be that long. Yeah, well, let's.
I think it adds. I mean, it gives you the Ground Zeroes prequel thing. And I'm guessing
it says it doesn't fix or expand upon anything. It doesn't complete and add those cut unfinished missions or any of that. It's messy, but it's some quality stealth, especially for this is this is why I don't like Rock Paper Shotgun. We should have grabbed the one from GameSpot instead. They're not straightforward. Either way, this is definitive experience. Like this is just so mind-boggling for me that they have the audacity to release, like whether like this is like in an HD version or whatever it is. Like, I guess it seems like it's just Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain put together.
I think it comes with all the DLC.
Okay, with all the DLC.
It's kind of like a Game of the Year edition where it just gives you all the DLC.
Like if they called it like, Metal Gear Solid 5 Complete Edition.
Complete experience, yeah.
Yeah, like that would be like, okay, all right, it's everything in one bundle. But the fact, and also it's not you can't even upgrade to it. You can't even upgrade. But the fact that they're calling this the definitive experience is just, I don't know. I don't want to put like Kojima on a pedestal, but it's insulting to the creator of the game, who like poured his life into it, and it's like, oh no, his version is not the definitive. This is the definitive version, the one that Konami put out.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they specify just
call it the complete edition. That would be like, okay,
or like the complete collection or something, because definitive lately, at least within the last few years, definitive has kind of been the tagline for things that are remastered.
Yeah, or like saying
or fixed or polished.
This is the version you want to play.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like they're actually polishing or remastering anything. They're just giving you all the DLC for the same price as the game itself. So you're saving $20 by getting the definitive experience version.
Let's move on. Let's talk about TF2. They're not having a Halloween event this year, which is very shocking, because TF2 is I think 9 years old now. And for the past, I don't know how long, they've been doing Halloween specials, that last the month of October, and you get like all these extra stuff going on. You have like boss fights. Like, it's so crazy. Like the things that they've been adding has been insane. The fact that like they add modes that only exist during October. Like it's a multiplayer only shooter, but then like you add a boss into it, and it's not like you're cooperating against the boss. Like the boss goes against both the teams.
Yeah.
So it's just so crazy, the things that they've been adding, and it's just, I don't know, kind of seems like a sign that they're probably done with Team Fortress 2. Maybe they're working on a new game.
Yeah, because they're definitely. Well, I mean, the reason that they're not doing a Halloween event for Team Fortress 2 is because there's already a Halloween event for Team Fortress 3.
Yeah, this one over here. This Overwatch.
Yeah.
So Overwatch. Thanks for the transition.
Perfect segue.
Overwatch, like they announced and pushed out the update at the same time for their Halloween update. Adding Halloween skins. Some of them are just recolors. 4 of them are like brand new. Like this Symmetra's is just a recolor, not impressive at all.
Yeah, some of the better ones are
like,
Reaper.
Reaper, yeah, he's like a headless horseman.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think.
There's Junkrat, who's Dr. Junkenstein.
And then you've got
Roadhog, who's Junkenstein's monster.
Yeah.
And you also have Mercy, who is a witch, which is like also her best skin so far. Like, everyone's crazy for that skin.
Yeah.
And here's like just the recolors, which are not impressive at all. There's Junkenstein's monster. And there's the Mercy Witch.
Yeah. But then there were some characters that didn't get anything, like Diva, which doesn't even have a Halloween skin.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed.
But and they also added for the Brawl, it's a 4-player co-op, wave-based, going against Halloween robots that are going after your door. I don't know what's behind the door, but you're supposed to protect the door.
So, it's all your Halloween candy collection.
Is that what they say? I don't think they say that. They don't even say what's inside the door.
I don't know what
protect the door.
Just making stuff up.
But you play as 4 different characters, and you can't have more than one person select a character. You got the Soldier 76, Hanzo, McCree, and Ana. And you so basically Ana's the only healer, and everyone else be shooting. And it's pretty fun. I like it. I was playing a bit of it with some friends, and we're trying to do medium mode and not get any damage on the door, and that's really hard to do. Like it's always one always sneaks through. And when you see that one sneak through, it's like in slow motion, and you just can't aim in time, and boom, no bueno. But like this is a pretty good, first year Halloween event. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And play that Overwatch. Try to get them Halloween skins with these Halloween loot boxes.
Yep, you get little trick-or-treat buckets.
So I got a gold skin out of this.
Oh.
And it was Lucio's hockey skin.
So that was one thing that I remember reading, is that even though whenever they do a special event, like when they did the soccer one, like the World Cup event,
it was Rio Olympics.
That's what it was. Yeah, they still mixed in standard skins with the Olympic skins. Like they didn't do anything. Like they didn't have loot boxes that would just give you the Olympic skins.
But I didn't think it was good. Give me the Rio ones.
Yeah,
it gave me his Lucio's hockey skin, which is from Rio.
Yeah,
and I was like
those are still available. Like you can still get them, but yeah. So they just mix in all of the. I honestly wish that their loot box system would be fixed. I don't like the way that the Overwatch loot box system is, because what they should do is, if they're doing an event, then it should really just give you skins for that event. Um, and it seems like they're really pushing forward towards people actually buying loot boxes. And even then, if you buy loot boxes, you're not guaranteed to get any Halloween skins because it's all random and it's all mixed in with every single skin that's ever been designed for them. So I really think that they need to um, they really need to make sure that whenever they do an event and people are, especially when people are paying for loot boxes, like, if you're paying the X amount of dollars for, however many loot boxes, and you open all of them up and you don't get anything for the Halloween event, that's just really disappointing and upsetting. So if I were to say anything negative about Overwatch, it's their loot box system. That's really the only thing that I dislike about that game.
Also, Torbjorn sucks. But anyways.
Torbjorn is awesome.
No, he's not good. If you play Torbjorn and you're playing ranked, get out of my team. Now. You're doing it wrong. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about a couple things that are not video game related, but we'd like to talk about the movies and the comics on this podcast. So let's talk about Scarlett Johansson, who wants to play or wants a Black Widow movie to happen soon. And I know a lot of people have been like clamoring for a Black Widow movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my personal opinion. I think there doesn't need to be a Black Widow movie. And it has nothing to do with her being female. It has to do with the Black Widow character being a boring character. Like, out of like all the Avengers, she's like right there next to Hawkeye.
Yeah, like she's been one of the like secondary, just supporting characters, really not a focus at all.
Like, she had like a few lines that are supposed to be jokes that did not, go through well.
Yeah,
like when in the Avengers, when Tony Stark's like, "Oh, I'm bringing the party," and like the whole audience laughed when he in the theater.
Yeah,
everyone's laughing at that, and then she's like, "That doesn't look like a party." Dead silence. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I do agree. Like that she is one of the least important characters, but I think that still. But I think that is part of justification why she should get a movie, because they can do a lot more with the secondary characters. Like, even if they did a Hawkeye movie, I think that would allow for them to expand on those characters.
I feel like they've tried to expand on those characters multiple times and failed. Like with Avengers 2, they tried to expand on Hawkeye with his farm family, and that did absolutely nothing for me. In fact, I felt like that made the movie worse. And multiple times they've tried to like expand more with Black Widow, with either her and Hulk for whatever reason. I don't know why they tried to make that a thing, but that did not work. And also like her and Captain America and the Winter Soldier movie, that didn't go anywhere, or that didn't work. It just, I don't know. Like, she just seems like a very boring character in the movies, and as far as the comics as well. Like, I haven't read that many with her in it, but like, she was always a side character. She was never an important character. Like, I don't know. I'm definitely interested in like the Captain Marvel movie that's coming up. I think she's a really cool character. They use her a lot in the comics and even the cartoons. She's a primary character, and I'm definitely looking forward to that movie. But like, as far as like Black Widow, I think she's a boring character. I don't think there needs to be there isn't much to like work off of her. She's a spy and double agent, and it's like, I don't know. nothing really there to work off of.
All right.
Well, what's your opinion?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind if there was a Black Widow movie. I'd watch it, just because it's a Marvel movie and their movies Marvel has just done a really good job with their cinematic universe.
Yeah,
and
most of their movies are excellent.
Yeah, most of them. There's like one or two here or there that I can think of that.
Thor 2.
Yeah, Thor 2 was not very good.
Yeah.
I feel like there was one more. I can't remember, but yeah, like generally their movies are really good, and I would still, even as much as I disliked Thor 2, I still think that it wasn't I didn't like it in comparison to just to the other Marvel movies, but it wasn't a horrible movie. Like, it was alright. It was decent, but it just didn't live up to what the rest of the Marvel movies have set as standards. So, I mean, I'd watch it. I wouldn't discourage them to make a Black Widow movie, but if they made one, I'd watch it.
I would prefer them to focus on more interesting characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel. She-Hulk's pretty cool too. Yeah. Let's move on.
Speaking of movies that actors want.
Yeah.
This one, actually, I am totally 100%. Actually, I am like 1,000% in favor of this. But Ewan McGregor, the guy who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel Star Wars movies.
The definitive Star Wars.
Well, okay, so basically he's been wanting to do an Obi-Wan movie, and a lot of people have actually been wanting that as well. And I will follow that up by saying, despite the negativity that the prequel movies get, Obi-Wan Kenobi, like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi, is my favorite character in any Star Wars movie ever. I just think that he is an excellent actor, and his character was written very, very well. And I like his character way more than any other character. Well, okay, maybe not way more, but him and Han Solo are basically my favorite characters. But I still think Obi-Wan's my favorite out of the two, even.
Nothing comes close
to Jar Jar.
Chewbacca.
But no, yeah. So I really like his character, and I have always wanted a movie that, like, a spin-off that just focuses on him. And if this is something that gains traction, I more than fully support it. I think that there's a lot that they can show about his life, especially what happens in between the prequels and the original movies, just what happens between episode 3 and 4.
He hides in a cave.
I'm sure there's going to be more than that, but there's just a lot of stuff that they can do in between those movies, and even not necessarily just in between. There's just a lot of you can kind of tell that Obi-Wan is a very rich character that was written.
I thought he was poor. I mean, he lived in a cave.
He was a very developed character.
I didn't think he had much money.
No, most Jedi don't. But yeah, I really enjoyed his any scene that was basically that focused on him made the prequels worth it. And what
are you talking about, dude? Darth Maul made it worth it. He's the best character. I mean, he had red and black, and he had a cool lightsaber. Come on.
Yeah.
You must be joking on me.
But yeah, so I want movies that focus on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he said that he has like plans for 2 movies. Like he has ideas to make 2 movies about Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think that would be awesome if they actually go through with
I mean,
this.
at this rate, it'll probably happen since Disney's making like a new Star Wars movie every year for the next 12 years or so.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they're kind of taking the spin-off route, because like Rogue One is coming out and this year, and I'm excited for that as well.
I'm waiting for Rogue 2. I think it's going to be better.
Yeah. So the sequels are always better, right?
I'm the worst. All right, wrapping this up.
Sure.
All right, let's. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm back on the screen. All right, let's wrap this up, and let's read some listener feedback real quick. So I have feedback from an E McGregor 2016 at gmail.com. How you doing today? So he writes in saying, "What's up, guys? Kevin is awesome, and I agree with you that Smash Bros. Is not a fighting game." Well, thank you very much for writing into the podcast. If you want to write into the podcast as well,
Talent stories.
You can do so. Shut up. You can do so by writing to podcast@addicontinues.com. And I'll read I'll read your questions or comments. If you just have a comment, I'll read it. If you have a question, I'll answer it. And so some quick plugs, real quick. Nothing I want to plug. So let's wrap this up. I'm getting hungry. And if you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review, subscribe to the Google Play Music. You can also contact by email. That's podcast@addicontinues.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/addicontinues. All those things I just said, they're on the website. That's www.addicontinues.com. So you don't need to write any of that down. Just go to the website, addicontinues.com. It's all there. There's a link. You can also give me a tweet. I am at SayedStafa. That's at SayedStafa. And Mr. Kevin over here has his own Twitter as well.
Yep, I am at KS Trehan. That's KSTREHAN.
And I want to thank my guest host for joining me today, Kevin.
Thank you, Stafa.
And with that said, I'm your host, Stafa. I'll see you guys next week on episode 258.